Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening to the Quality Hub, chatting with ISO experts. And happy 2026, everyone. I'm your host, Xavier Francis, and today we're here with Scott Dawson, President of Core Business Solutions, to join us to ring in the new year. How you doing, Scott?
Doing great, X. Glad to be here to enjoy 2026 with you. I guess this is the first of many great podcasts this year.
Let's hope they're all great.
Exactly.
That's the plan. We'll see how it comes about, but that's our goal.
I like it.
All right. Well, today we're talking about looking ahead to 2026, standards, security, and smart growth. It's a very timely podcast as we start the new year. But before we begin, let's start with a fun question, one that sort of fits the season, which we just got through. Scott, if you could invent a holiday, what would it celebrate and why?
Okay. I've been giving some thought to this.
Okay. All right.
Thinking more introspectively about my own personality and different things.
Okay.
National Imperfection Day.
Okay.
So it's the day when you do something you're not particularly good at.
Okay.
Just to celebrate doing it. For example, I can't draw worth a lick.
Oh, same here.
But that might be my day I would draw.
Okay.
Or sing off key all day long just to irritate the person in the next cubicle, right?
Yeah. Or your spouse, whichever.
Or your spouse. So it
dogs.
celebrates letting go of perfectionism, which we all, I think, have this standard for every, accomplishment and things. And sometimes just the doing, you should just enjoy. Like me and my guitar. You know a little bit, I'm on this guitar.
Yes.
Kind of learning curve, and I'm not particularly good at it, but I'm just enjoying every time I play.
Well, that's great.
Because I'm really not that good, but I'd like to be.
There's an abandon when you just don't care.
Exactly.
You're just there to have fun.
Exactly. So. National Imperfection Day.
All right. I didn't go that deep.
Yep.
I kind of was like thinking, for me, I try to want to enhance Veterans Day. In a past life, speaking of music, I toured and performed for hospitalized veterans around the country, and I really saw the cost of freedom that so many veterans deal with in a real way daily.
Yeah.
Lost limbs, PTSD, things like that. Actually, the first time I toured, it was the last World War I veteran. I met him.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. But I think I'd want to enhance it so people could understand it a little more. I mean, we all are really grateful, and we understand and get it. And I know it's more of a U.S. holiday, but it would be great for people to understand there's a little bit more
I think that's
there.
a great idea. Better than mine.
No. I like yours. I liked yours. But
no, but honestly, and Veterans Day versus Memorial Day.
Yeah.
The confusion there.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And then,
I'm still alive over here. That's next one.
Exactly right. You can celebrate me on Memorial Day when I'm not here.
Right. No, but
I think that's fantastic, X. Great cause, and hopefully this raise a little awareness on Veterans Day.
That's all it is. Well, now that we talked about some fun and some not so fun, I guess, what we do for holidays, let's get on our topic, which is 2026. Now, Scott, looking back on 2025, which a lot of us will be happy it's in the rearview mirror.
Right.
What lessons stand out most for you as a business leader?
Boy, as a business leader, I've got a lot of things in my own personal life that I look back on and reflect on. But as a business, this was a challenging year.
Mm-hmm.
2025 was. So much change so quickly.
Yeah.
And regardless of your own political views or whatever, I'm not even trying to make it about that. It's just the world has changed so quickly, whether it's government policies changing or priorities or AI invading our lives. And, I think we're all still recovering from the COVID concerns and
There's
fears.
And
I mean, you still hear about people getting COVID and dying from COVID. I mean, there's just a lot that we're all still transitioning through.
Right.
But it has been a difficult year in business because you just have a lot of distractions and a lot of headwinds that maybe we haven't had to face.
Yeah. Or at least all of them not converging at once.
It seems that way. Now, I suppose if we listen back at this podcast the last couple of years, we'd hear ourselves talking about the previous year in similar kind of a vein. But 2026 hopefully will turn the corner on some of these things.
Or anything that really sticks out to you for high-level stuff that maybe people should think about for 2026?
Well, having a sustainable business having a business that is progressing in spite of the challenges. I mean, we have enjoyed a lot of recurring business, a lot of customers that have been very loyal to us. And that's kind of weathered the storm when finding new customers is a little trickier.
Yeah.
Government contracts aren't coming through and other kind of funding sources aren't there. I think that's been a positive thing. And I think I would, advise every business leader to think more about current customers and building business with current customers in some manner. I think another area that's become just vitally important is cybersecurity.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
It just seems like it's a regular news event when another company has to report that there was a major breach and a concern. And I hope we don't get numb to it. I hope we all take it very seriously.
Yeah.
It won't be long before, AI disasters start to affect us all.
Well, it's already affecting us because they're using AI to help for the breaches and stuff.
But there's this crossover to cybersecurity that seems to me just right there on the edge. And I don't know that we're thinking about that as well. So I think, resilience is something we tried to really focus on in 2025. We want to carry that into 2026.
Okay. So I already asked you if you had to choose a new holiday. Now I'm going to ask you to choose one word to define your business outlook for 2026. What would it be and why?
Well, we aren't going to use imperfection.
No, we're not going to use that. You can celebrate those, but not in your business. Right.
But I don't know that you celebrate that in your business quite as much. I think for me, it's alignment and getting everyone on the same page because so many things have changed and continue to change, and making sure that your business strategy is really clear in your own mind, in your leadership team's mind, and throughout your organization. Making sure that the vision for the business is clear to customers and partners and vendors so that you can go in a single direction together and not have to just fight, the fog of confusion, if you will, that often comes. And I think if companies can stay more aligned with unified messaging, keeping value that you bring to the market very clear, and making sure that every way that you communicate, whether that's face-to-face or digitally in some manner, the message is very clear who you are and what you're there to do. And I think getting everybody on the same page seems to me essential for growth, going into the new year.
Well, I guess to take a little slogan from Nike, just do it. That's simplicity, but it's like, okay, we just got to focus.
Yeah. Well, and I think being able to boil things down and communicate clearly what you're there to do and accomplish is really important. And then it can really fuel execution. So now everybody can put the majority of their time and effort onto the one thing that your company is there to do, the one thing that you're trying to excel at, the one thing you're trying to stand out, in the market with. And you can then tighten up your priorities and focus on what really drives value to your customers, value to your employees, value to society in general. And that should bring back revenue and then back to that resilience. It can help you to overcome, distractions and challenges and headwinds because you're all heading singularly in one particular direction.
Yeah. And it's really easy to eliminate things too. Does that fall into our alignment? No. And push it off.
Yeah.
Maybe you put it in a parking lot, or maybe you just don't focus on it ever, but that's not what we're talking about right now. That's not our focus right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right. Exactly right. And it's okay to change and refine your position on this. You should be reevaluating. I think New Year is a good time to reevaluate what worked, what doesn't work, and where our focus should be for the next 12 months. Not just financial goals, but other aspects of the business, whether that's in your products and services that you're providing. Maybe it's time to cut out a service that you've provided because it's not paying back what you expected it to pay back. Or maybe it's time to finally launch that project that you've talked about for 5 years and never actually launched. So I think
maybe it's your, getting younger.
How do I do that?
As a business.
Oh, I see.
I haven't figured out how to get younger. All I know is it's getting the other way and it's speeding
going
up.
the other way.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is if you're dealing with a more aged, a little bit older staffing, get some of that generational knowledge banked.
And really build for the future that way by leaning into, employee development and recruiting for future leaders and future technical professionals that your business is going to need, like I am, getting a little older and needing to be thinking about the business, after I'm on the golf course or wherever I'm going to be.
No, you're not going to be on the golf course. You're going to be in the studio playing something.
Playing my guitar, still trying to learn the guitar. That's it.
There you go. All right. So we talked about getting that one word, which is alignment. That's how you feel about it and probably are recommending. Now, what trends or shifts should small business leaders pay attention to in 2026? And put on your thinking cap and we'll get the crystal ball out here. What are you seeing?
Well, I think with all of the changes and the unpredictable nature of things, being focused, simplified is important. And I think customers are going to look to their partners, their vendors, their suppliers for simpler solutions, making their lives easier. Right. And that might be that you expand your portfolio of offerings so they can come to you as a one-stop shop. It might mean that you bundle some things together so a customer can place one PO and fill more than one need from that. The relationship that you build with your customers can be built around providing for more of their needs, the more of their products that they need, the more services that they need. And I think that goes back to my thought of leaning into your customers. While you always have to be looking for new horizons and new opportunities, sometimes things outside your control can make that a lot more difficult. But looking to see if revenue and profitability is growing with your existing customer base, I think is an important metric. Not just always looking for the shiny new customer. Yeah,
or that big number that, I can get this.
Or the big name customer, which can be great. And for some businesses, they need to, get those big logos, as they say. But I think don't ever forget the customers that have got you where you are, and that I think it's 2026. I know for us is going to be a time to really lean in to our customers and see what other additional value we can bring, to their business.
Now, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, and this is a shift that started several years ago. What do you see in AI? Everybody's talking about it, but it really is here. Yeah. And it's just exponentially expanding.
Well, it's absolutely is. I don't think if you're not a technology company, you're probably dabbling with AI, or maybe not dabbling with AI, but it hasn't really been an area of focus for driving more efficiency or improvement in your business yet. I think, many times it's a curiosity. Sometimes it's a time saver. Sometimes it gets you unstuck when you're stuck on working on a project or whatever the case may be.
Looking for a podcast topic.
Looking for podcast topics. Exactly right. Looking for answers to the podcast questions, things like this.
No, we'd never do that.
We'd never do that.
No.
But I think 2026 is the time to, it's a chance to embed AI into one part of your business and see if you can't bring more value to your customer or more efficiency to your operations. I'm not talking about replacing jobs and replacing people and that kind of thing. I'm thinking of it more in terms of freeing up people's time to do what only human beings can do.
Yeah.
Well,
a podcast actually that reminds me of, I think it was with Danny Norman and you that we did back earlier that's not this year now.
Yeah.
Early, late 2025, we talked about it for manufacturing. And I thought it was going to be this big podcast of, we're going to get these sensors and it's going to take this and it's going to take this. And he was like, no, use it just to schedule your people.
Right.
Put in the things that you can use. This is what Joe's good at. This is what Steve's good at. This is when they're available, when they're not. Let it figure out instead of you sitting there trying to do a diagram.
To map it out on a whiteboard or something, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Let it do it. And I was like, that's really a cool way to look at it. Or I think maybe some people may not have.
Yeah. Well, and so I think using AI, find a business case to really invest in AI as a significant process improvement somewhere in your business.
Right.
I think that would be a good New Year's resolution, because then it would require that you you dive into the tool, you learn more of its capabilities,
Right.
and you overcome some of the fear, I
Yeah.
think, that comes along with the subject of AI.
Well, it can get frustrating
well.
if you don't give it the right prompt and you're like, that's not what I wanted,
Yeah.
and after the third time you're ready to throw the computer. Well, I'm not me, but
Right.
someone may want to throw the computer, across the room or whatever.
Yeah,
Something that you
exactly.
see out of the office or whatever.
Yeah,
But,
right.
But really hunker down and say, okay, why don't you ask the AI what you should ask the AI, or something.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
That's a legit thing to do.
Mhm.
And I have discovered recently, I'm just slow at these things, so probably everyone else has already figured this out. But many of the AI tools, you can create projects. I think of them as a folder, and you can do the work on a particular topic or project in that folder, and then it learns from itself.
Yeah.
Which can really benefit. I think if it's just a simple tip, I suppose, but
it learns you too, and what you're looking
learns
for.
you and what you're trying to accomplish, and what you've done before, and that type of thing. But I think AI as part of the team has got to be part of 2026's priorities.
Any other trends or shifts you're seeing?
Well, I'll go back to maybe cybersecurity for a minute. I know that customers are looking for suppliers and partners that they can count on. And it is about performance. It is about price and delivery. It is about customer service, but it's also about trust.
Mm-hmm.
And so much important information is being exchanged between companies these days. And so much of our business is online and in digital land that a security breach can not only take down your own business, but can take down customers. It can take down suppliers. If for no other reason that you're down for an extended period of time and you're now creating this disruption to the whole supply chain, right? And I think that is this protection of critical information has gotten to the point where the Defense Department has, within its supply chain, has seen that information security is just vitally important, not only for delivering the goods to the soldiers in the field, but protecting their soldiers in the field from sensitive information about the weaponry or the defense mechanisms or the strategy that's being used on the battlefield. Protecting that information is just vitally important.
Yeah.
So we see things like CMMC and DFARS and these type of things coming about. Cybersecurity as a benchmark or as a mark of quality of your business is becoming much more important. If anyone is working in the defense industry or thinking about it, cybersecurity has to be right alongside, building the products and capabilities that you need to service your customer. Everything has to be secure, and you've got to prove it, because
it's no longer, we're doing that.
Exactly right. Yeah. It's no longer the honor system, as it were. Right.
The funny thing about CMMC, and we will be talking about it throughout this year, we're probably going to be doing about one a month on CMMC. It's also, let's say you just cut grass. Well, if you cut grass and you have the map of a whole base, imagine what an enemy could do with that.
Yeah,
exactly so right. You're not just looking at, oh, well, I only make ball bearings. No, guess what? You're going to fall in line with needing to be CMMC compliant and perhaps level 2 and up where you need to be certified. And that's exactly
right. And I think there's a reasonableness to it, but I think there's also this expectation that all information that could provide any kind of risk to our war fighters has to be protected, even if it's indirect, second or third order indirect type of thing. Cutting the grass means I have access to the base. It means I know the base. It means I have documentation about the base's schedule and other kinds of things that could potentially create a risk, or bring about a threat to people's lives.
Yep. This ends part 1 of our podcast on looking ahead to 2026, standard security and smart growth with Scott Dawson. Next week will be part 2, where we'll continue to look at CMMC, new business patterns, and how compliance standards and ISO can benefit your business. And we want to give a big thank you to everyone who's tuned in today's episode. We hope you found it helpful and walked away with something valuable. Now, if you're looking for more information about Core Business Solutions, now proudly part of the LRQA family, and how we can support you with ISO certification, cybersecurity, CMMC, customized training, anything like that, we'd love to hear from you. Just email us at info@thecoresolution.com or visit us online at www.thecoresolution.com. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow the Quality Hub podcast on your favorite podcast platform or YouTube so you don't miss the next episode when it drops next week. Thanks again for listening. Have an awesome day.